Will be discussing about the board committees. So, what is a board committee? A board committee is nothing but it is a small group formed by the board of directors inside the company itself, and it mainly consists of the board members of the company. So these committees are created for a specific reason or a specific task. They're supposed to handle certain specific task or responsibilities that has been given to them. So the board members are chosen for their expertise in the relevant area, and the role of board committees is to take action on certain particular task relating to particular area, and they have certain prescribed duties and they have to focus on a particular area of the company's operations on behalf of the full board of the directors, and this is done in order to distribute the workload more effectively so that the company runs much efficiently and more smoothly. So the board committees allow for more specialized attention on certain key aspects of the business. So, what are the types of board committees that we can come across? We will study it in the upcoming slides. So, next is the importance of the board committees. So, the board committees play a very crucial role in upholding the robust corporate governance and oversight mechanism. So, as we already know, while running a company, there is a lot of things that you have to worry about and work on, right? So, there are little groups created inside the company who can take care of certain issues, which in turn leads to better governance of the company, better functioning, better operations of the company, and they are going to oversight the mechanism. So they are going to look if the shareholders are happy with the company, if the development of the company is happening well, if there is any issues, internal issues or external issues that has to be combated or paid more attention to. So in this manner, they're going to look into the upholding of the corporate governance to an efficient level. So they facilitate the concentrated attention and in-depth discussions on specific areas of the company. So for example, we have stakeholder committee, we have a CSR committee. So they have to look into if the CSR committee that has been formed under the company is looking after the CSR activities properly or not. If the funds that has been given to CSR has been diverted exactly for the same causes or not. So this is what the committees does. The CSR committee looks into the activities of the CSR committee, and the committee is going to oversee the activities, the money spent, who all are involved, and they also look into the proper documentation of all these things. In the same way, we have a stakeholders committee who is going to look into the welfare of the stakeholders of the company, and how they have been treated, and what about their shares, their rights, if they have any sort of grievances. So all of these will be addressed by the stakeholders board committee. Okay, so similarly, through their deliberations, so through continuous meeting, deliberations, observations and involvement, the committees are going to promote transparency and enhance the accountability to the stakeholders, and also safeguarding their interests. So why does any company need to have a board committee? That is a mandatory thing, because to promote transparency, to make sure that the stakeholders' rights are upheld and protected and maintained. Okay, so board committees empower more effective decision making by the board of directors. So it is they work more confidently because they are in a group, they are a team, and they are an expert group who can make efficient decisions on particular areas in the company's governance and company's functioning. Okay, so they also allow for comprehensive examination of the intricate issues. If there is any issues relating to whatever it is, CSR committee, and if they are not able to divert the funds properly for CSR causes, then what is the issue that they have to resolve? They are going to sit together and come up with a new idea or a new solution so that they can work it out seamlessly. Next, they're going to bring in the objectivity. They're going to bring in the objectivity, and they're also looking to the independence of the board's functioning, because the board itself has to function independently for it to work efficiently. So it is very important for any board committee to make sure that it is acting independently and not with the influence of any other key managerial persons whims and consent. Okay, so obviously there will be consent given, but these committees act independently, because if you're not acting independently, there can be any other influences that can alter your data or your perception or opinions. So to avoid such things, they avoid any sort of interference from other people. Next is a committee strengthen the risk management and compliance frameworks. So the committee, what are they going to do? They're also going to strengthen the risk management and compliance framework. So compliance with the law, compliance with the established rules and regulations. Along with that, they're going to look into the management of the risk that arises in a company's governance efficiently, and it is very important to protect the company's future, okay, and the stakeholders' rights. Next, they also ensure the adherence to the regulatory requirements and best practices. Who is going to give the regulatory requirements? It is the ministry, it is the country, through laws, through rules, regulations, and many other dictum of law is established to make sure that laws are properly maintained, so that the rights of the stakeholders and the shareholders are protected, right? And that will be efficiently maintained when there are board committees involved. Next is, furthermore, they also cultivate an environment. They also cultivate an environment that fosters the professional conduct and ethical business practices with the organizations. Why is that? Because they're going to focus on one particular matter, brood into it, work on it, find the solution for the risk and any problems that may arise during the company's operations, and they're going to work on it and efficiently navigate through that problem. So that actually helps in building the professional conduct and also ethical business practices. Next, by setting the tone at the top for good governance, the board committees contribute significantly to the overall effectiveness and efficiency of the board operations. So if a company has to operate good, if a company has to operate efficiently, then there needs to be board committees established according to the law for its better operations, and that is what the board committees do. That is the internal committee formed inside the company by who are the members of the board committees? It's none other than the board of directors. Okay, so they streamline the processes. What is streamlining? They are going to put a particular method of dealing with a particular problem. Okay, so that is called streamlining. There cannot be chaotic way of dealing with problems. There need to be a proper systematic way of dealing with issues and problems that may arise in the company's operations, and that is what the board committees are going to do. They're going to streamline the process. They're going to optimize the resource allocation. As I already mentioned, which department or which board should divert how much money for a particular cause. They're going to optimize that resource, whatever the resources that is available in the company, how it has to be diverted, how it has to be used for development, for the stakeholders protection of rights, for the shareholders protection of rights, and for the CSR activities, for the expansion of the company. All these monetary resources allocation has to be done through the board committees. That is what the board committees actually do. And they also ensure that critical aspects of the business receive due consideration and scrutiny. That they also what they do ensure that the critical aspects, the important aspects of the business is getting due consideration, due attention, okay, due verification of the activities is done, and that can only be done through board committees, through a group of people, expertise group of people focusing on particular tasks or in particular areas, so that they can efficiently perform their duties. Next, ultimately, a well structured and a functioning board committee are indispensable, because they contribute so highly to the operations of the company. So the functioning of the board committees are indispensable when it comes to company's development, and they also maintain very high standards of corporate governance as expected by the laws. And they also do the mitigation of the risk, whatever the risk the company is going to undergo. It may be financial risk, it may be raw material risk. How do we, expansion of the company, how are we going to do that? So the due diligence report, they are going to work on the financial sources that they have to opt for, or the bank loans that they have to take, and what are the issues, the risks. All these things will be dealt by the board committees themselves. Okay, and they also help in creating long term value for stakeholders. So long term value is when a company is perfectly operating and its operations are top notch, and it is going in a well structured manner, then what happens? Obviously the demand demand for the company will increase, and the trust in the company will increase, and that will help in creating the long term value for the stakeholders in the company. Okay, and next we have the types of board committees. Now you have understood what is a board committee. Now you know the what the importance of the board committee and what they actually do, the functioning of the board committee. Now we are going to see the types of very popular types of board committees that are established in a company setup. That is, first is the audit committee, second one is the nomination and remuneration committee, third is the stakeholder relationship committee, fourth is the corporate social responsibility committee, and next is the risk management and the risk management committee. So what does exactly the audit committee does? The audit committee is going to look into the certain aspects relating to the audit of the company. Okay, and next is the paperwork relating to the audit, and if the financial resources that has been given to the company has been properly used, utilized or not, if there is any sort of discrepancies, or is there any sort of risks that the company is taking. All these things will be overtaken or looked over by the audit committee. Okay, next is the nomination to the remuneration committee. So this committee is going to look into the salaries, the nomination of key managerial persons like COO, CEO, CFO, and who should be occupying that position, who is the right person, finding such right person to be the COO, CEO, because they can change the whole future of the company itself. So proper recognizing the proper person or the right person for that particular key managerial post is very important for a company's future. So they're going to find them, they're going to nominate them, and they're going to fix the remuneration. That is what this particular committee does. Next is the stakeholder relationship committee. Stakeholder relationship committee is nothing but how a company can maintain a healthy and a valuable relationship with its stakeholder is very important, and that is what this particular committee works on. Fourth is the corporate social responsibility committee. That is, CSR committee is nothing but every company with a particular turnover has to divert at least some amount of its own turnover, its own profits, for the sake of the people, for the sake of the stakeholders, or the people who have contributed for that company to come up to that level, like building schools for poor children in the rural areas, or building common toilets, and even community halls, or regenerating lakes or the local forest. All of these things come under the corporate social responsibility committee. Okay, so they're going to take out certain funds from the committee, and they're going to divert those funds to do these activities, and this committee is going to overlook into all these activities, how much funds have been given or released, and how much funds have been utilized for what purpose, and what all they did under that funds. All these things, like relating to any sort of activities that comes under the social corporate responsibility, will be dealt by this particular committee. Next is the risk management committee. So what are the risks that the company is going to undertake, or what are the risks that they have already undertaken, and what are the consequences of that. It may be financial risk, it may be stakeholder related risk, it may be, loan risk, expansion risk, whatever the risk that the company is going to take, this committee is going to look into it in depth. Okay. Moving on, the audit committee. So according to the section 177 and rule 6 of the Companies Rules 2014, it says that every listed public company, all public companies with a paid up capital of 10 crore rupees or more, and all companies, that is the public companies having turnover of 100 crore rupees or more, and all public companies having in aggregate outstanding loans or borrowings or debentures or the deposits exceeding 50 crore rupees or more, and oversees financial reporting, auditing and internal control. So these, if your company is falling under any of these categories, that is A, B, C, D, then it is compulsory for that company to have the audit committee. And what does the audit committee do? It is going to oversee the financial reporting. It is going to look into the auditing and the internal controls of the company relating to audit alone. Okay. It also monitors the independence and performance of the auditors. Are they doing their job properly? Is there any discrepancies? Are they whistleblowing? So all of these things will be looked into the in the audit committee. Next, reviews related party transaction and risk management systems. When it comes to money, obviously the audit committee is going to look into it through auditing, and they're also going to look into the reviews related to the party transactions and also the risk management systems of the company. Moving on, we have the nomination to remuneration committee. So every listed public company, all public companies with a paid up capital of 10 crore rupees or more, all public companies having turnover of 100 crore rupees or more, and all public companies having in aggregate outstanding loans or borrowings or debentures or deposits exceeding 50 crore rupees or more, then they are supposed to have or establish a nomination remuneration committee. What do? They look into the recommendations, that is they recommend the appointments and removal of directors and the senior management people, that is COOs, CEOs, CFOs, etc. Okay. And they not only recommend the appointment of certain key managerial person, but they're also responsible for the removal if these key managerial people are involved in any sort of illegal activities inside the company. Okay. Next is, it also evaluates the board's performance and set remuneration policies. It also ensures proper succession planning for the leadership roles. What training has to they undergo, and what are the changes that a COO or a CEO or a CFO must do in his company, and how is he going to address the stakeholders, the shareholders, and what are the changes that they have to bring in to reform the company. So all these things are being looked into by nomination and remuneration committee. Okay. Next, we have the stakeholders relationship committee. The main objective of this committee is to resolve the grievances of the security holders of the company. Who are the security holders? They're nothing but they are the shareholders of the company, stakeholders of the company. Stakeholders involves the people who are working in the company and people who have invested in the company. Shareholders are nothing but who have bought the company's shares. They are shareholders. Stakeholders means it includes the shareholders, the person who have invested in the company, the people who are working for the company. Okay. So it is going to look into the stakeholder relationship, how the company is maintaining good relationship with these people. It matters a lot for the development of the company. Okay. So to make sure that they all are in good terms, they make sure that this committee is established to look into the activities as to how the company is working hard to keep the interest of the shareholders, stakeholders, debenture holders and other security holders. Okay, so it also considers and resolves the grievances. For example, if the shareholders have any sort of grievances with the company, then what can they do? They can make an application, they can make a complaint, so that issue will be resolved by the stakeholder relationship committee. Next, they also review the measures for effective exercise of voting rights. Obviously, when there's a general meeting held and if there's any major change the company is undergoing, then obviously there'll be voting rights, right? And they are going to discuss the issues relating to voting rights of the shareholders, and it also approves the transfer, transmission and issuance of the duplicate share or debenture certificate in case if it is lost by the shareholder or debenture holder. Okay, so this is what the stakeholder relationship committee does. Next, we have the corporate social responsibility committee. So every company which fulfills any of the following criteria during the immediate preceding financial year, then they are supposed to establish a corporate social responsibility committee. That is, companies having net worth of rupees 500 crores or more, or if a company is having a turnover of rupees 1000 crore or more, or if a company is having a net profit of rupees 5 crore or more. In such cases, that company is supposed to establish a corporate social responsibility committee, and it is formulated and it also monitors the CSR policy and how the spending is done for the social, environmental and other sustainable areas. Okay, so you may promise that you're going to give or install 500 solar panels to provide electricity for a nearby village. That is a CSR policy, and how they're going to look into the budget. They're going to plan the budget, they're going to apply for the money. Once the money is released, how are they going to implement it using that money? All of these things is the duty of the corporate social responsibility to take care. They can also, establish girl child school exclusively for girl child education or women education, and they can also regenerate the lakes that has been dried up, or regenerate the local forest which has been no more existing. And yeah, this is what they can actually do under the CSR responsibility, that's CSR committee. Okay, next comes the risk management committee. What do they do in the risk management committee? They are going to evaluate and monitor the risk management framework and policies of the company, and then they are going to review the cyber security issues or any other related issues for the mitigation of such risk. So data security is a major risk right now for all the companies, right? Data security, protecting the data and their client base. So this is a major issue. So the risk management committee is going to look into how they are going to protect the people without getting into risk. It may be data, it may be people, it may be their contacts, or whatever it is, their management framework, policies, all of these things they're going to evaluate and monitor. Okay, they're going to review the cyber security also, and it also assesses the risks arising from business operations and strategic decisions. If there's an enemy company or a competitor company, how are they going to launch a product and survive in it, because a similar company has already launched such a product? How are you going to mitigate that risk of getting under loss? So how are you going to mitigate that? You have to have certain strategic plans and certain business operations which help you in managing these areas of risks while conducting the business. So this is what exactly the board committees does. And yeah, I hope you like this video, and if you've understood, please give us a thumbs up, and please do encourage us by subscribing to our channel and liking this video. If you need the PPTs or any sort of help, please write it in the comment box so that it will be easy for me to record my upcoming classes. Thank you.